Welcome back to Feed the Beast. I'm actually recording this in the morning. I usually record late at night, but I've actually got a morning to myself. Wife and kids are all out, and I thought I'd come on here and show everyone what I've been up to. So, sorry about the noise, it's just providing me a bit of power. This is my oil tank, and it gets converted to fuel and goes down to the steam boilers below. As you can see, it's almost empty. So periodically I need to go and find some oil, and it's a bit of a pain. So I'm going to do that now. I'm going to go and find some oil, and we're going to pump some into there, and then I'm going to show you what I've decided to do. About the fact that every couple of days I have to go and get oil for the oil tank to keep the boilers running. To be honest, if they weren't so expensive to get up and running again in fuel, I'd probably just have let them stop. But it takes so much fuel to actually get them up to temperature that I don't want to do that. So, okay, I'm going to go and find some oil, and then I'll be back and I'll show you how I pump it out. Okay, so I have found, this is fairly close to the base as well, I found 2 oil wells in the ocean. Now I used to look for oil wells that were on land only because it's very easy to get water into the pump, and if you get water into the pump, it just stops and then nothing much happens. Wow, that is deep. Okay, usually the ocean floor isn't quite that deep. Now I need to find the hole where the oil's coming from underground. So there. Oh, that's not too bad actually. So what I tend to do is build up some columns around the actual around the actual oil well itself, and then I can attach the pump. I really hope I didn't. Did I drop that down the middle? No, not. I'm using gravel, so it just dropped down. Okay, there we go. So yeah, that's what I do to start off, and then I'll drop gravel down the other 4 sides, and then I'll put the pump in. Right, so I've surrounded the actual oil well itself, the kind of stuff that spouts up into the air, with gravel, so that we can't get any water into the system. I mean, as you can see, there is some oil in the water, and you can collect that with buckets, but collecting it with the pump is very difficult. It's just easier to keep things simple. So I use these. Unfortunately, they're all pretty depleted at the moment. That's mainly because I've been running a quarry and doing some other things which require lots of power, which you'll see later. So yeah, I use these ender tanks. They're brilliant. I use them for everything. So the pump will now show you actually. If we just take out a little bit of the gravel, the pump will now go down, and it's very slow going at first because every time it goes down 1 block, it just gets 1 bucket of oil. But once it gets down below, there'll be a big chamber. The chamber sizes vary, but sometimes I can get 700 or 800 buckets out of one of these, which is pretty good. So I usually do 2, sometimes 3 to fill up my tank. I'm just going to do 2 today, so there's another one over there. What I need to do is, yeah, if I start setting that one up while this one's running, it doesn't actually use that much energy. 35,000 should be enough to do these 2. So yeah, it's fairly close to home as well, but I don't know if the chunk loaders are going to work. The server is very aggressive at unloading chunks just to keep everything running smoothly for everyone. So I'll set that one up and I'll be back. Okay, so that one's going along, and we've built up the columns for this one. So let's put the pump in place. This is a Buildcraft pump. It's the best thing for this particular job, although sometimes I prefer to use the red power pumps. and it's just the easiest thing is just to bring along one of these. So that'll start. It takes a long time. Every time it has to go down a block, it just seems to take a very long time. So yeah, let's see what's happened to our oil levels so far. Should have gone up a bit, but not loads yet. So it was about 280 something, and now it's 215. So it's going up slowly. When the pumps get down to the chambers below, that will go up a lot. So I've put a portal there, and I will actually have to keep coming through. I know I could use chunk loaders, but to be honest, they really don't work very well on here. So what I need to do while they are trying to pump down is I want to check that my quarry's working. So we got anything coming through here? No, I don't think it is. The last few days, I haven't used quarries a lot, but I decided I needed to get a few materials. So the last few days, I've been trying to set up a quarry and keep it running, but unfortunately it seems to keep resetting. I don't know whether it's... Well, no, it's definitely not when I log out. I've had one reset while I've been logged in. So, as I was saying, yes, I've been trying to keep a quarry running now on this server. We use the Twilight Forest for quarries. I haven't really shown you too much of the Twilight Forest. As you may have been able to tell already, or I hope you can, my computer has been upgraded. As I've been saying the last couple of videos, I found it very hard to record and do things as I build more complex machinery and feed the beast. So I think I can now go around and show lots of different things that I couldn't before. Anyway, yes, it's reset. As you can see, this yellow and black line is at the default 9 block by 9 block. Just annoying, because you can see I had the frame set up, you can see how far it got. I don't know, I wonder if it is the because these things, they chunk load, they keep the chunks open that they're quarrying, and in the past I found it to be the most reliable form of chunk loading, actually, to the point at which once I made a bit of a mistake. I set up the power for the quarry here in the Twilight Forest rather than using a tesseract, and what happened was I logged out without switching off the quarry, so the quarry carried on while I wasn't logged in, because it's although all the chunk loaders are supposed to only work when the user that owns it's logged in, I don't think the quarries were doing that. So when I came back and tried to go to where the quarry was, there were hundreds and hundreds, maybe even thousands of entities. I mean, I couldn't count them, I couldn't even see them. I got one frame every 30 seconds. It was just like a waterfall of blocks of mainly dirt and marble. What the hell? Oh, I forgot to actually click on the forgot to click on the landmarks. There we go. Right there. So now now it'll have to take down the frame that it had before, and then it'll have to build a new frame before it can actually start, which is a bit annoying because I haven't done anything wrong. But anyway, yeah, we had this. I had this waterfall of entities, and I had to kind of persist and sort it out. I put as much as I could into a chest. I managed to fill 1.5 double chests before they all sort of just vanished. They despawned. So yeah, that's how slow it was running. That's all I managed to do. Actually, where is the void pipe? Oh, I usually have a void pipe on there for all the marble because I don't want any more marble. So I keep this stuff, and I keep everything else but this in that chest. But yeah, I usually have a void pipe. I don't seem to have set it up. So yeah, I'm gonna pop back to the main base. And thankfully we have this home command. It just saves a little bit of travel time. think I mentioned it before. You can just set one home, which is incredibly useful. So let's get the void pipe to avoid putting any load on the server. Yep, I definitely lost it somehow because I had 8 and then I had 7. And now I've only got 6. Why am I going through here? That's right, to load these up. So there we go, they're loaded. They'll run for a little bit before they unload again. But as I say, the chunk unloading is a little bit unfriendly. I understand that the server needs to keep running for everyone, but can make things a real pain sometimes. The most effective chunk loader, to be honest, is to use my son's account at the same time if he's not actually on here, so I can have him or his account at one place, and that keeps the chunks loaded very effectively. So yeah, here we go. So just a little word about where I build my quarries. You might notice that it's kind of like a mountain, well, a hill, and this is one of those mystic hill things with lots of resources underneath. So let's actually pop in and have a look so you can see what these things look like. Let's go down here. Here we go. Let's put up a little bit of light. So this is one of these mystic hill type places. It's got tons of resources in the ceiling. They're really neat. You get a lot out of them. So a lot of redstone, a lot of iron, a lot of coal. More than you would, I think, just digging a random kind of random area. So yeah, I completely lost how I got in here now. It also has these spawners, which I can get rid of, but the quarry will get rid of them for me. And the cool thing is, any beehives or chests, it grabs the contents for me, which is really nice, really neat. So yeah, that's. I always use these to quarry. The medium-sized ones are perfect. The quarry will do a 64 by 64 block area, maximum size, and that pretty much covers one of these medium hills. I have tried a big one. You need to either do it in 2 stages or just leave some. The small ones, you might as well just choose anywhere. To be honest, there didn't seem to be that much extra stuff inside it to make it worthwhile. But yes, the main thing I'm after really is coal, copper, and tin. So they're the main resources I'm after. I don't actually start right at the top of the hill. I start a bit further down. So the Twilight Forest has got all of these kind of like floating islands in it now. So yeah, we're trying to keep the normal world fairly clean and sensible, but Twilight Forest is fair game. So yes, my void pipe is now working, so that's good. Yeah, I've got so many stacks of marble, and there's really not a lot I can do with it. I'm building the floor of the mansion with it, but as a block, I really don't like it, especially since I got this advanced diamond drill. It just breaks too easily, too quickly. Whenever I'm trying to do any work and I just want to take out 1 or 2 blocks of marble, I always end up taking out an entire section, and it's really annoying. So just check the energy on here. Yeah, loads of energy. So I'm going to stay around these 2 for a little bit now that the quarry is working. So let's pop down here and see what the chamber looks like. So if you have a sort of chamber full of oil, I think it's always worth sticking a torch up here, having a look. Now in real life you would not want to use a naked flame anywhere near oil. Although until it's refined it's not that explosive or flammable, but even so, probably not a good idea. Now this is a very small chamber indeed. In fact, it's the smallest one I've seen. But I believe, yes, that's right, it goes down further. So we've got that, and then this is the proper chamber. So this is full of oil. I'm really sorry if you cannot see anything. Let's see if I can light up situation a little bit. Underwater I can't really see anything, but yeah, there's plenty of oil down here, so let's go back up. I tend to come down to the chambers, firstly just so I know that it's still working, and can just check that it's got all the oil or not. The pump doesn't seem to have any way of indicating or finishing off when it's got all of the stuff that you're pumping. Maybe there's something I'm missing about it, but I haven't seen or noticed anything. And the other thing is sometimes with these chambers underground, you can just pick up some copper or some tin, and even some iridium. Once I managed to luck out and find some in the wall. So it's worth popping down there and just having a look. So as you can see, that's got some oil in it. I suspect my base is unloaded now. So when these fill up, sometimes I have to pop back through, have the tank loaded the other end. So yeah, I will hang around here and pump all this oil out, and then I'll show you what I'm going to do to avoid having to do this in the future, because this is okay a few times, and I honestly don't mind doing it. You know, exploring to find the actual oil wells can be interesting sometimes, but if I'm in the middle of a build and I'm trying to get something done and then I notice the oil's low, I don't want to have to come out here. I really don't. It's just, you know, it's the last thing you want to do when you've got momentum on a build, is have to stop and spend an hour. It depends how long it takes you to actually find some decent oil wells. It's certainly been a lot easier since I figured out to do this column thing, and now I can use ones at sea because they're a lot more common and they're very easy to spot. I just pop up the overlay and you can see the two kind of black splodges. So all I do is I just fly boosted over the ocean until I see some black splodges. It's really nice having two very close together here because, as I say, the chunk loaders don't really work. So yeah, I'll get back to you when I've got this tank nearly full. So this is the second pumped chamber. It's actually very small. I mean, it's not the smallest, but there's not a lot to it. It's almost finished. The other one's much bigger, which is good. So while I'm down here, I'm going to grab some coal. You may wonder why am I grabbing coal? It's not very valuable. Well, it is to me. The nuclear reactor, I've had to actually switch it off because I was running out of coal for the coal dust. It's just crazy. I never thought I would be short on coal, but yeah. So I've switched it off for now until I build up my stocks of coal dust. That's what kind of prompted me to do the quarrying as well. So while I'm down here, I may as well just grab some coal. Right, so this is how we're doing. As you can see, the tank is now almost half full, which is excellent. So I think there should be some more. Although that one seems to have stopped, even though there's more oil down there. Sometimes that happens. The pump seems to get confused with some of the liquid flows sometimes. Yeah, this one doesn't seem to be doing anything. This may have got to the bottom. Let's have a look. There's some copper there. We want to collect that on the way up. Yep, it's done. So this is what the chambers look like when it's done. Now I'm going to grab this coal real quick, and I can never tell the difference between silver and tin. So this will either be silver or tin, I just don't know which. And I need tin, I do not need silver, I've got loads. This gives me silver and lead, neither of which I need, so I don't know why I'm collecting it. But yeah, this is done. So we can remove the pump up there. Now there was some copper on the way down, wasn't there? Let's just check this room. I mean, I could sometimes while I'm waiting for the pump, I'll go and just have a wander around some caves that it exposes. But I'm not going to do that now. Quarrying is a lot more efficient, slightly less fun maybe. So here we go. Get this copper. As you say, it's tin and coal actually that I need just at the moment, the most. The tin's used to make the cells, near depleted cells that go into the nuclear setup. And I was kind of keeping on top of it when I only had the half tower, but now I have the full tower. Yeah, I can't imagine what it would be like if I had 3 towers. That would be wow. That would just be crazy. Keeping track of all of that and keeping on top of the need for new fuel cells. So this one's finished. Let's have a look over here. It doesn't look like it's doing a lot. So I think it's got confused with the water flows or the liquid flows. Anyway, I'm going to try and sort this out. I'll be back in a sec. Right, so got a fairly full tank. I mean, it's half full. I've had it more full. I've filled it up, in fact, but I don't need to do that now. Let me show you. Just putting things away. Let me show you what I've done to try and avoid having to go and do all that again and again and again every few days. So let's put these back. Something in my inventory might be giving you a clue as to what I've done. So over here, this is my son's bee lamps. Now you've seen it briefly, but I've never actually gone in here and shown you around. So it's set out in a honeycomb fashion, and the center is it's not for bees, it's just for all of the machines, and now an iron tank with liquid DNA. And that's done by putting bees into a gene pool, and it melts them down and gets the DNA out. So over here we have a squeezer and a centrifuge and a carpenter, which we're now making scented paneling for the alveries. And then we've got 6 of these with 9 aviaries in. Apiaries, that's it, apiaries. Now these 3 over here have been automated, and some need new frames. So let's do that. Up until I think it was day before yesterday, we were manually making these frames, and it's a real pain. Because you have to get the impregnated sticks and put string in there and stuff. We had a recipe in a project table, but it was still a real pain. It got to the point where we weren't really like refilling the apiaries, but it makes such a big difference to the production. So yeah, recently we've got 3 industrious, they produce the pollen, 3 imperial, they produce the royal jelly, both of which are the 2 resources needed for the those scented panelings for the alveries. And then I've bred these super imperials. They are actually nocturnal and fast, because the royal jelly production was falling way behind the pollen. As you can see, it's caught up, or just about caught up. So yeah, this is above ground. Let me show you below ground. Although briefly, just we've got like different chests to sort things in, and if you pop bees into here, they appear in here having been analysed. I'll show you that in just a second. So there's a couple in here need refilling. So let's put the frames in. That is, to be honest, that's the only reason I'm interested in alveries. I know they're a lot more efficient and they produce more, but I'm quite happy to spam apiaries, to be honest. And I think they look nice. Whereas the alveries are huge, great big things. But unfortunately, you cannot automate the frames. You can't put frames in an automated way into apiaries, and you can in alveries, which is why I'm interested in alveries, because I don't want to have to come over here too often. So here's downstairs. So where to show first? Probably this was the first section we did. So it's fairly standard the way it's automated. You just have an apiary pipe, apiarist pipe with anything and any bees. So any bees try and go into the apiary. If there isn't room, they go down here. And they're all connected together, and this is where the combs and everything that comes out ends up. So what we have is any bees going in the blue direction, which ends up in an indexer, and then some exceptions for bees that I was interested in at the time. I probably don't need to have those exceptions just now, but when you're trying to get a bunch of drones for breeding, you don't want them. I don't want them getting mixed up with the rest. And then here we have our centrifuges. So yeah, they're all set up for different types of combs. So we've got coca, ancient, stringy, and then anything else. So the royal jelly and the pollen goes in here. And look, the pollen's pulling ahead again, even though I bred some fast bees for the royal jelly. They're supposed to be exactly the same chance. So yeah, the centrifuges the combs and then pulls out and sends all the stuff it got out down here. In here we have a lot of beeswax, and then we've got some squeezers. This squeezer is just for honeydew and honey drops, and anything else just goes in here. So this fills up with propolis mainly. And then here's the two things. Here's the two squeezers which are set up for well, the oil basically. So I actually get these oily combs. There's the one in here. No, there's one coming along. So it should have gone in here. There's an oily comb, and it separates out into honey drop, and a lot of the time you get this oily propolis. Let's see. No. Don't think we got any. Either that or it just got pulled out real quick. So it's like the normal propolis, but it's kind of black. And we put it into a squeezer and we get oil out. And then the oil comes along this pipe and into this ender tank. And yeah, it's great. I'm hoping that these apiaries up here, and this section is wholly devoted to oil production. These apiaries up here will be enough to keep that tank pretty much at the same level. So I've got these refined drones. Basically, I managed to get oily bees, and then from oily bees got distilled bees, which doubles the chance of the oily comb production. And then I got refined bees because you also get those petroleum combs, which I think you saw just briefly down here. There's some in here, in fact. So here's some petroleum combs, and they actually produce biofuel. So I've set up this other squeezer and tank to send the biofuel. I don't have any use for it at the moment, but I may as well collect it in a tank. So how did I get to those bees? Well, my son was breeding generations of bees, and he got noble, diligent, unweary, majestic, resilient. So he got all of those just through natural breeding. It's a very time-consuming process. But basically, these machines here, these allow you to play with the genetics of bees. And I'm actually doing some of that, or I'm going to be doing some of that in a moment. I'm trying to get a particular bee. I've managed to get a drone. Let's have a look. Hopefully some of these will be hybrids. I'm trying to get, what's it called, a fossil bee. So that's just a pure forest princess, not what I wanted. Primeval forest hybrid and primeval forest hybrid. So if I breed that with, I need a primeval drone. Yeah, that one there. And then I've got these hybrids which aren't very useful really. Just put them in there. Right, so I need another soul frame. So these soul frames, they allow, or they increase the chances of mutation, and that's what I'm trying to get. I'm trying to breed these two bees and get a different bee out of the other side. Okay, so I'm out of soul frames. So let's make one. Get rid of all this. So just one of those and one of those. Sulfame. Yeah, so that other section that's wholly devoted to the refined, they are nocturnal. I use the genetic machines to make them nocturnal and fast. They're kind of like super bees. And as long as I keep the frames in there, I've calculated that it should definitely keep on top of the boiler oil usage. So while they're breeding, let me show you these genetic machines. So we have an acclimatizer, which I have used once and not used since. Just a word to the wise. If you have a bee in there, a bee that you spent quite a long time breeding, and then you break it without taking the bee out first, you'll lose that bee. That's really, really quite irritating. So this is probably the first really interesting machine. It's an isolator. If I put bees in here, and these empty serum bars in here, it will take a random trait out of that bee with a 30% chance of losing the bee. So that's how you get your serums, and I've got quite a few now. So different species serums, so I can decide I want some majestic bees and just inject. And this is what I've been doing up to now. This is me. I've got one fossil drone. And I could put it in this machine here, the isolator. But if I do that, it probably will just kill the bee before it gets me a serum for fossil bees. So usually I like to get a breeding pair first, and then breed quite a lot of drones, and then you just chuck the drones in there. So we've got this purifier and a synthesizer. And what the synthesizer does is it loads up the serum with the DNA and gives it charges, and then the purifier makes it a higher quality. If you use a lower quality, you can really mess up your bees. And then this inoculator, I've actually made a Valiant Princess there. This inoculator changes the traits of the bee in here to whatever you're injecting. Takes quite a lot of charges usually. So here's that relay I showed you above, and it goes into this analyzer and then into this chest here. So it's just a way of dropping bees off. Oh, okay, so I've got a primeval princess and drone here as well. I'd forgotten about that. So you can just drop them off, get them analyzed. It just saves on the drops used in the beealizers. And then there are some bees, the drones of these types of bees, that we're not really interested in, only interested in princesses. And this is the machine that creates the DNA in that tank. Let's actually switch the power to these machines. And this is probably going to say it hasn't got enough liquid DNA. So this is a bit of a clumsy way of doing it. But if I do that, it will fill it with liquid DNA. It doesn't seem to have much in the way of charge either. So what's going on there? Yep, it's feeding power. I guess I ran down the power of all these machines before switching it off. The reason I have this switch here is just because they'll draw power all the time, and yeah, that's not what I want really. Wasting power, it's not ideal. So here's another section. This is below the refined bees, and there's one more section over here. So the next thing to talk about is this little contraption. This is what auto makes the frames. So it took a little while to do this. I tried all kinds of different ways of setting it up. Mainly that I had the wood going into a barrel, and tried pulling it out there, and now I just have a barrel up here, there we go, with some wood in, and then the wood that comes from the tree farm. I actually have it split up. I'll show you that in a minute. Split up so half comes into here. Same with string. So I barrel up the string, and the trick for doing this system was not to try and barrel up the wood. Excuse me. So we just feed it straight into the carpenter, and as it arrives, it makes these impregnated sticks, and we just fill it with seed oil from the seed oil tank constantly. And then when this has work, so when it's doing something, it'll actually pull, or when it can do something, it will pull things out, put them in here, and then this is an auto crafting table, and it can pull the string from here, the sticks from there, and then we just pull out the frames and they go up and into that barrel up there. So it's a very simple system. I was trying to make it more complicated than it needed to be, and that's why I spent 2 hours on it before simplifying it. So this actually leads off to the base, and I originally installed it to take things. So there's a relay back there, you can just toss things in and they'll go into the sorting system. So when I came to want to redirect the wood and the string, goodness, what's down here? Nothing interesting. When I wanted to redirect the wood and the string this way, I didn't want to make another one of these pipes go all this way. I mean, it certainly would have been easy. I got the resources, but I decided to try and use it two-way, and that's what I've done. So this filter, this just makes sure only string and wood can go into this system. There's the relay. It does mean if you've got string and wood and you want them to go back to the sorting system, you can't, because they'll just go through this filter. So let me show you how I managed to do two-way transportation. I have an intersection under here. It's actually got quite complicated. So okay, so this way, this is where stuff comes from the farm up there, and most of it I want to go down that way to the base, and that's what happens. But I actually want seeds to generate the seed oil to go that way off to the squeezer that is down there, and that's what this system does. So we have a relay just so nothing can go that way. It's acting like a diode really, and this filter just means that seeds are sent up there. The restriction tube stops the seeds going around in a circle. So I set that up quite a long time ago, and this is essentially very similar. We have the filter for wood and oak, so that takes all wood and oak, and then these are equal length, so it splits them half and half. Half the wood will go this way, half the wood will go this way, and that just goes straight back into that system. And this one goes into this pipe here, and again we've got the restriction tubes. Otherwise you just end up with things going round and round in a circle. Everything will try and find the nearest valid destination with the red power tubes. So yeah, let's see how the seed oil is doing now. I'm using it for automatically making the frames. It's not too bad. I think a lot of the honey's being used for making the albury blocks. That's okay. Yeah. So I'm very happy with these. Very, very happy indeed. It worked out very well. And the fossil bees that I'm trying to breed at the moment, the reason I want those is because they produce coal dust. I'm not sure I'm going to create a whole section just to create coal dust for myself. It seems a bit excessive. Coal is easy to find, but you know, it's just fun doing the bee breeding. I don't want to get into it too much. My son's going for diamond bees and high production honey bees, so I'll probably leave him to it. But I built the genetic machines, trying to sort of help him out, show him how to do all that. And this, our holy bee. There was a particular point where we just couldn't breed the next generation of bees at all. We were having a great deal of trouble, and that bee managed to get us over that hurdle. So that's why we put it up, framed it for posterity, and called it our holy bee. So let's have a look, see how much oil we've still got in here. So 962, so that's quite a lot, and that should, I mean, it might go down slowly over time, but that should be good now. So where did the biofuel go? Well, I have that going down to a tank down here in the power station. There's not a lot in there yet, but I don't know what to use it for, so just storing it there for a rainy day. And yeah, I think the bees will be the saviour of my sanity, stopping me having to go and get oil all the time. Ah, well, I know I said goodbye, but look, a fossiled princess. Okay, we got a couple of forest drones as well. These rocky princesses actually just came out of the quarry. So what I'll do, I'll just store them later. Princesses are really useful. I can change those into any type of bee I want using the genetic machines. So I've got another primeval princess, but I'm not going to use that unless I need to. So we keep like a copy of everything, a spare set. So I'll just put those in there. And that's a forest, right? Yeah. So let's put. Actually, I should analyze them all first. So let's put those in there. These I don't really care. They're whatever traits they've got at the moment, they're not going to have when I use them. So is it a pure? It is a purebred. Usually you get a hybrid where you get like fossiled and forest or something. But now I have a fossiled princess, and I have my fossiled, or somewhere I have my fossiled drone. Where did I put it? I put it in one of these. Okay, I need to go and find my fossil drone. I'll be right back. Aha! Yes. This is where I put it. I remember now. I put it in there just because I didn't want to reveal that I was doing bees at the start of the episode. Maybe a bit silly. So now what I want to do is I want to use one of these automated apiaries just to breed a few spare drones. So these are super cultivated. This is my super imperial, and this is Valiant Queen and drones for some other breeding. So let's take those out and put my fossiled in. And that will just automatically breed these, and I'll get some drones out of that. Then when I've got a few drones, I can stick them in the isolator and isolate the traits. I just want to breed this Valiant Queen into a princess. So yeah, it broke one of the soul frames, but yeah, that was successful. It took me quite a while. I think the best technique seems to be to put them in and then just don't stand around waiting because you just get bored and frustrated. Just go and do other things and check back in occasionally. The only downside to doing that is well, it's easy to come back and go, what was I doing? No idea. So they should be analysed by now. Except they're drones, aren't they? And they get automatically put into the melter because my son said, no, they're useless ones, we don't want those. And added this. Okay, I keep forgetting that. I've done that quite a lot of times. There we go. There's the remnants of the bees. Right, now we need to make an exception for a fossiled here. So, which one am I really not using? Primeval, ancient, imperial, industrious, distilled. Distilled. Let's change that one. Forest, no, meadows, industrious, forest, tree, marshy, rocky. Primeval, what we want is the one we just bred, fossil. Come on, where is it? Oh, seriously? Oh, goodness gracious me, that is really irritating. I don't know why these gates sometimes don't show up the bees. I thought it was just you have to breed it yourself. I did. I bred it myself, all by myself. Maybe it's just that once it finishes a single cycle, so let's switch that off. I don't want to end up with the bees going in here. This is the indexer. Mainly just gets filled with these cultivated drones. The others are filtered out, and this activates the bee flusher. What this does is it sucks them out and puts them into the gene pool, melts them down, and we get liquid DNA here in the tank. Yeah, so I'm going to wait for that generation to produce, and then we'll see if we can filter them out properly. Okay, so we got an extra drone, an extra fossil drone, so let's see if I can actually make an exception in here for a fossil drone. Should be able to now. I can't. Why not? Why won't you let me make a fossil drone exception? I don't understand. Don't get it. I really don't understand. Yes, look, I have one in my hand. Oh God, this is annoying. Well, oh. If anyone can explain this to me, I would be most grateful. I just thought it was because I hadn't actually bred the bee, but I bred that bee. I mutated it and then I bred it. So I'm going to switch on this, get rid of what's in the indexer, because that's where these are going to end up once I oh, excellent, we've got a fossil comb. Once I switch on the automation again here, that's where the drones are going to end up rather than in the chest. Separated, so I'll have to be very careful not to switch on the flusher and lose all the fossil drones. So once I've got a few, I'll use the isolator. In fact, I'm going to use the isolator on the one that I've got now. It doesn't matter if it dies, I've got more coming, so here we go. So this is what that does. Switched on. And yeah, I'll have to see. I don't know how much coal dust I'm going to get out of this. Yeah, as I say, I'm doing this more for fun than any practical use. I think the refined bees are awesome, and they're going to keep my oil tank filled up. That's not what I want. It's just completely random. I haven't even looked at what the other traits are for this drone. I don't really care. All I want is the fossiled species serum. So come on, are we going to get it this time? Are we going to get it this time? No. Okay, well, I'm going to keep doing that, and I think that's about everything for today. I hope you've enjoyed the episode, and I'll see you in about a week.